I'm not leaving here without it, and I mean that.
Come on now, Joe. Why don't we just go along the way we have?
I'm sick of going along. We're going to end this thing here and now. And then what?
You go to the police?
I can't do that, and you know it.
Maybe I better make sure.
You can't afford to shoot me. Why don't you stop bluffing?
He's right, Randolph. We've had it with him. Let's cut it off. I guess this is really yours. You've paid enough for it.
Stop, thief! The envelope. Wait a minute. What happened? Sounded like shots.
Out the other way. Don't let anyone see you. Get going.
Man with a Camera. Starring Charles Bronson.
I'm Mike Kovac, photographer. Sometimes I'm on my own, freelance. Sometimes I'm hired to do a job. Once in a while, it's just a favor for a friend. And rarely, it's for someone much less than a friend.
Out! Look, now, take it easy, will you, Kovac? This is only a social call.
I don't socialize with you. Out!
Look, Mike, why don't we bury our little petty differences, huh? I'm willing to bury the hatchet. Why? Well, I need a little favor. Look, now, before you blow your top, the favor ain't for me. Joe Clemmer was killed a couple of nights ago, right?
So he was caught in the act of burglarizing. What do you want me to do, send flowers?
Look, it was a bum rap. Joe wasn't robbing that house.
Frankie, what are you trying to tell me? Joe was always robbing our house.
Look, not since his wife left him 5 years ago. Joe was left with a kid. He couldn't risk being sent up. He's been going straight ever since.
What's the difference? So he got it the one time he was innocent. It makes up for all the times he was guilty and got away with it.
Oh, boy, you guys killed me. You're all alike. A grifter's a grifter 24 hours a day. The fact that he was a good father or maybe a good friend, this means nothing, huh?
You're breaking my heart, Frankie. What about all the people who are all this and they don't rob houses?
Look, Mike, there's an angle on this. The insurance company had a clause in Joe's policy that said there could be no payoff if he was killed pulling a job.
Oh, that's tough. What do you want from me?
Look, Mike, I know you don't like me. And I know you felt the same way about Joe Clemmer. But you gotta prove that he wasn't robbing that house when he was killed.
Go to the police, Frankie, the police.
The police, are you kidding? A two-time loser gets shot just trespassing. Mike, this case is not only closed, it was never even opened.
Frankie, I don't want any part of it.
I dropped something.
What is this?
Marcy Clemmer, I'd like you to say hello to your Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike.
Go ahead, Mr. Kovac. Tell her what you think of her father. Tell her how you can't help her collect that insurance.
What's she doing with a crumb like you?
Well, when Joe went, I had her put in a home for kids. I just borrowed her for the day, you know, friend of the family. Show the kid a good time.
We're going to the beach. You want to come to the beach with us?
I'd like to very much, honey. But for the next couple of days, I'm going to be awful busy. Chasing wild geese. You say you used this door?
I imagine so.
It doesn't look like it was forced at all.
I rarely lock this door since it's only glass. A child could get in it with a rock.
Where were you?
I was upstairs. I thought I heard somebody walking around here.
Did you call the police?
No. I felt half sure it was my imagination. When I got down here, he was standing by the open safe.
Well, what happened then?
When he heard me, he turned and ran out the French doors. I hollered to him to stop. When he didn't, I fired.
Could I see the safe?
Certainly.
You know, Mr. Paxton, I hate to bother you like this, but when Lieutenant Donovan asked me to get a picture story of the crime, he said you wouldn't mind.
Glad to help.
Was there anything missing?
No, actually, I keep nothing of value in there. Just a few personal papers, insurance policies.
That's a strong-looking safe. You say it was open?
It was open.
It's closed. And there's no case to reopen. And another thing. I just had a call from Paxton. Seems I sent a photographer out to his house today.
Yeah, well, I figured you'd say yes if I had asked.
Next time, ask. Let's drop this whole thing. Clemmer was a crook caught in the act, period.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Donovan. Tell me, when was the last time you had Clemmer in for questioning?
About 5 years ago.
There, you see?
I don't see anything. A lot of the boys lay off after they serve the stiff one. Usually they get back to work sooner or later.
What do you have on this killing?
A householder shoots a well-known criminal in the act of robbing his house. What's to have?
Who's Paxton?
A lawyer.
Any connection between him and Clemmer?
Not that we know.
Well, Donovan, will you do me a favor, please? Find out everything you can about Paxton.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, the picture that Clemmer tried to burn when he was shot. Could I borrow it?
Tried to is hardly the word. He succeeded pretty well. Here's all that's left of it. Looks like a shot of a window. Too bad there's no people in the picture.
What do you suppose was on it? And why'd he try to burn it?
Probably something incriminating. Felt he was going to die, was protecting somebody.
Okay, thanks, Donovan. If I turn anything up, I'll let you know.
This isn't like you, Mike. A guy like Clemmer, what makes you think he wasn't robbing that house?
Paxton said the safe was open, right?
So?
So you look at Clemmer's record. He's a pretty good second-story man, all right. But he wasn't a forger, and he wasn't a counterfeiter. And he was no more a safe opener than you are.
So he was never an iron worker. What does that prove?
Well, it proves that if Paxton says the safe door was open, he might have been lying. If he was lying about that, he might have been lying all the way.
Mike, I hope you know a lot more about Clemmer than you know about me. I can open a safe.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I got the fragment of a picture that he tried to burn. It may not mean anything, though.
Well, if there is anything to it, I'm sure you can figure it out, Mike. I got faith. And remember, little Marcy's got faith in her Uncle Mike, too. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in touch.
Hey, Frankie. What's this about little Marcy?
Huh? Oh, I was just kind of saving that as a little surprise for you, honey. You know, after all, you haven't seen the kid since you was a baby. I didn't want to get your hopes up.
Yeah, well, try me. My hopes haven't been up for 10 years. It might be nice for a change.
This Joe's insurance policy, it's worth 20 grand, and he didn't change his beneficiary. And you, his widow, can still collect.
That why you've been sticking around so long?
Oh, come on, honey. You know better than that. Besides, it's not as easy as it sounds. There's a little joker in it.
Oh, sure. There always is.
It seems if Joe was killed committing a crime, the policy was not collectible.
Yeah, but the paper said that...
I don't know about that. I don't get it. Why should Joe, after all these years, start housebreaking again?
Well, that's exactly what he was doing.
What? Hey, wait a minute. Whose side are you on? You almost sound as if you don't want to collect that money.
I don't. Look, Frankie, why don't you just leave the thing lay? All you can do is rake over an old scandal.
Scandal schmandal, honey. There's enough money here to set you up nice and respectable in a nice big house. And a pretty good slice for me, too.
Oh, yeah. It'll set me up in a big house, all right. On a short-term lease.
Yeah, but I thought that...
You thought? Look, Frankie, I got a theory. A guy who spent half his life in stir has forgotten how to think. Now get on that phone and call off your dog, or you'll be sending me straight to the chair.
Kovac here. Oh, hello, Lieutenant. Turn up anything?
I don't know whether it means anything or not, but Paxton was a lawyer. Actually, he never practiced. He was tied up with a private eye outfit, the Paxton Randolph Agency. Paxton quit about 5 years ago, sold out to his partner Randolph, and retired.
Was there any connection between him and Clemmer? No? Well, if you do turn up anything, let me know, will you? No, I'm shooting the charred fragment now, then I'll blow it up. I'll send you a copy. Yeah. Okay, goodbye, Lieutenant. The fragment was sharp and clear and blew up beautifully. But all it showed was an open window and a view of the city beyond it. The buildings with a New York skyline from across the river. I recognized the bridge. I had to find one room across the river. There could only be one room with a window that looked out on the bridge with precisely that view. Come on in.
Hiya, Mike.
What are you doing here?
Oh, I'd like to have that picture and the small one, too.
What are you talking about?
All bets are off. You can forget the whole thing. And I'm sorry I...
Wait a minute. What do you mean?
Oh, something came up. I found out the cops were right. So if you don't mind...
Yeah, I mind. I mind like crazy. What's the matter with you? Besides, this is police property now. All right, Frankie. All right. This is acid, Frankie. That 38 won't stop me that cold. You pull the trigger, you leave here without a face.
You grabbed for the first bottle that was handy, Mike. I gotta take a chance that it ain't acid. Put it down. Put it down, Mike.
All right, take the pictures.
Are you kidding? I wouldn't make it to the street. Turn around. Move, Mike.
It had been the worst kind of grind. First, I had to prowl the streets to find a spot facing the bridge. Then I had to talk my way into about 50 buildings to check the angle. But it looked like I'd finally hit it. Yeah, this could be the room, all right.
$2.50 a night. Although it ain't usually the view that sells this. Mostly they feel the bed. Go ahead. Feel the bed.
Well, I really don't want the room. I just want to talk about it.
3 flights up and the elevator out of whack. That's a long way to go for a little conversation.
All right, I'll take the room. Yeah. It's a half, 1, 2.
You'll get a good night's sleep. Those beds.
Never mind the beds. All I want to do is talk about the room.
$2.50 don't buy a heck of a lot of conversation.
10.
I ain't the desk clerk, son. I own the place. Owned it for 40 years. I got enough stashed away that probably I could buy and sell you. And I didn't make my pile taking bribes from total strangers. What's your name, son?
Mike Kovac. What's yours?
Cartwright. So now we ain't strangers. What's on your mind?
Anything unusual happened in this room lately?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
That's not what I meant. I meant any fights or anything like that.
No, not lately. Oh, but we did have a Lulu right here in this room about 5 years back.
What happened?
Salesman out of Ohio got himself knifed.
How'd that happen?
Well, I ain't sure. He was with a woman. Police figured it was the Badger game. And when he got wise and squawked, she put her scissors in him. Police never found her.
Can you describe her?
Sure, but it wouldn't do you any more good than it did the police. If I was to say she had dark brown hair, brown eyes, about 5'4", nice figure, what does it mean? Fits 10 million women.
Any distinguishing marks?
2 eyes, nose, mouth.
You're a big help.
Glad to hear it. I didn't make my pile taking money for nothing.
How did you make your pile?
Uncle died. Left me a bundle.
The janitor grumbled, but I talked him into giving me the key to Clemmer's place. The police had already made a thorough search of Clemmer's apartment, but they were looking for stolen goods. They didn't find any. I was looking for something to connect Clemmer with Paxton. I was glad Clemmer was the type who never threw anything away. In a pile of his papers, I found a canceled check made out to the Paxton and Randolph agency, and it was endorsed on the back by Paxton. All it proved at the moment was that Clemmer had once used the services of the Paxton and Randolph agency. His robbing Paxton's house could be a coincidence, but I didn't think so.
Would you care to try for best 2 out of 3?
I'm sorry, I didn't know it was a woman.
Where's Joe?
Who are you?
A friend.
Yeah, he must be a pretty good friend for him to give you his key.
I got lots of friends.
Well, you have one less friend than you thought. Joe Clemmer was killed a few days ago.
Now you see why a smart girl plays the percentages.
Yeah, I see. And since it's about time for dinner?
Why not?
That's fine. I know a quiet little place across the river.
No. I mean, by the time we get through the traffic, we will have wasted the best part of an evening.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyhow, I have to stop uptown and see a friend. You don't mind, do you?
Any friend of yours.
And every Saturday, we always go to the country, except if it was too cold or raining, or if Daddy was too tired. There's something wrong with the car. You know, we hardly ever got to the country.
Oh, Mike, she's wonderful. Who is she?
Joe Clemmer's little girl. I was sure you two had met.
Is she going to have to stay here?
Yeah. See, her mother took off about 5 years ago. And the father...
Did he leave her anything?
Well, he tried, but the insurance company has a legal out. A policy is uncollectible if the subject was, deceased during the commission of a felony.
What will happen to her?
Well, she'll stay here until she's 18 years old. And they'll put her out into the world broke. No friends, no relatives. You can see the kind of a chance she'll have. And you know...
I know. If anyone knows, I know.
Can I tell you a secret?
Sure, honey. You'll have to pardon us girls, Mike. It seems our noses are getting shiny.
I was pretty sure she was Clemmer's widow, even though the picture was 8 years old. And she'd been through a lot since. She could also be the girl in that hotel killing. But that still didn't buy me the connection I needed between Clemmer and Paxton. I could only hope the sight of Marcy would get to her.
The lady's gone. She said to tell you.
Yeah, okay, I'm coming. Where is she? Where's who?
Clemmer's widow. I've got to find her before she gets herself into trouble. Now, where is she?
Oh, she's in so much trouble, she won't mind a little more. I don't know.
All right, Frankie, all right. You don't want to thank you for the way you used this last night. No, I mean it now. Didn't even raise a lump on my head. You know, a less careful man might have made a bloody mess of it. Take me, for instance. I'm real clumsy. I learned how to use one of these things in the Army. And the general idea there was not to be so careful. Now, Frankie. Tell me, Frankie. What was Clemmer doing at Paxton's house the night he was killed?
Paxton was blackmailing Joe.
For what?
Well, let go and I'll tell you. Well, when Kara left Joe 5 years ago, Joe hired this Randolph Paxton agency to get some divorce evidence with pictures.
Did they get him?
Sure they got it, and then some. When they busted in on Kara, she was just pushing the scissors into her boyfriend. He was drunk and he was getting out of hand. Randolph and Paxton got their pictures, and they've been blackmailing Joe ever since.
I thought that agency split up.
Well, that's just for the record, but Kara told me they're still working together.
Why would Joe pay to protect the wife that ran out on him?
On account of his little girl, I guess. I guess Joe didn't want her growing up to be the daughter of a murderess.
If he was willing to pay, then why did they kill him?
Well, I figured Joe, he just got tired of taking the food out of his kid's mouth and told him he wasn't going to play no more.
Now I got an idea where Marcy's mother went in such a hurry. Lieutenant Donovan, please.
Well, listen to the little mother. Where were you for the past 5 years when the kid really needed you?
Well, I can make it up to her this way. It's not too late.
I'm afraid maybe it is too late, Kara. I'm afraid you run clean out of time for everything.
Oh, listen, I'll make a deal with you. All I care about is the money for my baby. If you just put $20,000 in a trust fund for it.
What now?
Well, we can't let her go. You know, once she was a woman. Sometimes you can trust a woman. But now she's all mother. Why, she'd leave here and she'd go straight to...
Well, you'd be a fool to use that gun. Got nervous neighbors. First sound of the shot, they'd be right over here.
He's right, Al. We're going to have to take him quiet.
Turn it up. All the way. Here.
That the burglar, Mr. Paxton?
Exactly. This man
is working for me.
Who was she, Mike?
She was Joe Clemmer's widow.
What's the story on Clemmer?
These two guys were blackmailing. You can tell the insurance company that he was killed during the commission of a crime, all right. The only difference is he was the victim.